All right, so we're back for more of Plato's Republic.
Still diving deep.
We left off last time with Socrates
Hmm.
and this whole idea of justice as giving back what's owed.
Yeah, that was Cephalus's take.
It was a good starting point, I guess.
It got us thinking.
But today we're moving on, right?
Absolutely. Into Book 1, Chapter 2.
Where a new character comes in.
Polemarchus, Cephalus's son.
Ready to jump into the ring.
He steps up with a definition straight from the poet Simonides, rendering to everyone what is appropriate to him.
Sounds reasonable?
It has a certain ring to it.
But
You know Socrates.
I bet he's got questions.
Oh, he always does.
What's he gonna do with this definition?
Well, first you gotta understand, back then, poets like Simonides, they weren't just entertainers.
Oh, right, they were like,
Almost prophets.
right.
Questioning their words, well, it was practically sacrilege.
So Socrates is taking on a popular idea,
Mhm.
a cultural authority.
He's a brave man, that Socrates.
So how's he gonna handle this?
He starts, as he often does, with some seemingly simple questions. Like he brings up crafts, like medicine or cooking.
Okay, I don't see the connection to justice yet.
Well, think about it. A doctor renders what's appropriate by giving medicine, right?
I guess. Yeah.
And a chef, they add the right seasonings to a dish.
To make it taste good.
Exactly. But the point is, both the doctor and the chef need expertise to know what's truly good for the person they're serving.
Ah, so you're saying true justice, it's like a craft.
In a way, yes. It takes knowledge and skill to know what actually serves someone's well-being.
Not just blindly following some rule.
You're getting it. And things get even more interesting when Socrates digs into Polemarchus's belief about helping friends and harming enemies.
Oh, that's a classic, right.
But Socrates, he starts poking holes in that with his clever analogies.
So is he saying we shouldn't help our friends?
No, not exactly. It's more about what if we're wrong about who our friends and enemies really are.
Good point. Like, we might think someone's bad when they're actually good.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
vice versa.
And a just person wouldn't want to harm someone who's actually good.
It all comes back to knowledge, understanding the true nature of things.
So he's pushing us to think deeper,
Always.
not just relying on labels.
Friend or enemy. It's not so simple.
It's about really knowing.
Socrates takes it even further, though. He says harming someone actually makes them worse.
Really? Like, even if they deserve punishment.
He uses this great analogy about a bad writing instructor.
Okay.
They may think they're helping, but they're actually making the student a worse writer.
So harming someone, even if they've done wrong, is like damaging their moral writing skills.
Uh-huh. That's one way to put it. Socrates believed the only true harm is to the soul, and a just person would never want to do that.
So he's flipping the whole eye for an eye idea on its head.
Completely. For Socrates, justice is about helping people become better.
Even those who've messed up.
He sees it as a kind of moral healing, like a doctor for the soul.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is, and it raises questions like, what about real-world consequences? How do you stop bad behavior?
Right. I mean, I get the philosophy, but
It's a valid point, and it's something Plato tackles later on in the Republic. But for now, Socrates wants us to wrestle with this idea that true justice might not be about retribution at all.
it's more about making people better.
Exactly, striving for that good life for everyone.
That's a big shift in perspective.
It is, but then Socrates drops another bombshell. He suggests this whole harm your enemies idea might come from those in power.
Whoa, you mean like rulers using justice for their own gain?
It wouldn't be the first time, right?
Sadly, no.
Socrates was way ahead of his time.
So we've gone from giving back what's owed to helping friends and harming enemies to now justice as a tool of the powerful.
Socrates likes to shake things up and make us think.
He's definitely challenged our assumptions about justice.
But just when you think he's dismantled every argument,
There's more.
oh yeah, a new challenger enters the scene, ready to take things to a whole other level.
Who is it?
His name is Thrasymachus, and he's got a very different, much more cynical view of justice.
This is getting good. I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Buckle up, it's about to get intense.
So this Thrasymachus, he sounds like a real piece of work.
Oh, he's something else, a real firecracker.
Ready to take on Socrates.
Head on. Thrasymachus is impatient, you know?
Like, get to the point.
Exactly. He's tired of all the philosophical games.
Wants to talk about the real world.
As he sees it anyway, he thinks this whole idea of justice, it's all a big sham.
What? Like it doesn't even exist.
Well, he doesn't deny its existence exactly. He just thinks we've got it all wrong. For him, justice is just, well, the advantage of the stronger.
So basically might makes right.
That's Thrasymachus in a nutshell. Power is all that matters.
No room for fairness or anything like
Nope,
that.
it's all about self-interest. Those in power, they make the rules, and everyone else just has to follow them.
I can see why Socrates might have a problem with that.
Oh, you know he does. But how do you even argue with someone who sees the world that way?
Right, like where do you even start?
Well, Socrates, being Socrates, starts with questions,
Of course.
trying to get Thrasymachus to really think through his own ideas.
Makes sense.
So he asks about rulers, right? And the idea of expertise.
I'm listening.
Any craft, whether it's medicine or sailing or ruling, requires the person doing it to act for the benefit of those they serve.
So a doctor's got to heal their patients, a captain needs to steer the ship, right?
And a ruler, a true ruler, needs to govern for the good of the people.
It's about responsibility, not just power.
Precisely. And Socrates is using this to expose the flaw in Thrasymachus' thinking.
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
Because if justice is only about the advantage of the stronger, well, then a ruler could make laws that hurt the people.
As long as it benefits them.
Exactly. So where's the justice in that? There's no difference between a just ruler and a tyrant, if that's the case.
Yeah, good point.
So Socrates is chipping away at that might makes right argument.
But does Thrasymachus just give up?
Oh, you know this guy. He's stubborn. He actually goes even further.
What? How?
He claims injustice is actually more profitable than justice.
Wow. He's doubling down.
He's like, the smart person, they use their power to get what they want, to outsmart everyone else.
Doesn't sound very ethical.
Ethics. Thrasymachus would laugh at that word.
So does Socrates blow up at him?
Nope, not Socrates. He's always calm. He stays cool and takes a different approach.
Interesting.
He argues that, look, sure, maybe injustice seems like it pays off in the moment, but it actually creates chaos in the long run.
Like for individuals and for society as a whole.
You got it.
Right.
A society where everyone is just trying to cheat and take advantage of each other.
It's not going to last very long.
Exactly. Socrates believes that real strength, real happiness comes from living a just life. Injustice is like a poison. It corrupts you from the inside out.
It makes sense. There are plenty of examples through our history of that.
Oh, absolutely. Socrates was dealing with these timeless questions, questions that are just as relevant today as they were back then.
So did he convince Thrasymachus? Did he change his mind?
Well, Thrasymachus didn't have a sudden conversion or anything like that. He's not that easy to sway.
But maybe Socrates at least made him think.
I think so. Forced him to confront the flaws in his own thinking. To see that maybe a world where everyone's just out for themselves isn't such a great idea after all.
So we've come a long way from where we started. From giving back what's owed
Yeah.
to this whole power struggle idea of justice.
It's been quite a journey.
And we've seen how Socrates tackles these different ideas. Makes you really think about your own belief.
That's what Plato's so good at, using these characters and their debates to get us questioning, exploring these big ideas.
And it's not just some abstract philosophy. It's about how we live our lives.
Absolutely. It affects everything, our relationships, our communities, the whole world.
And that's the beauty of it. So where do we go from here? What's next in this deep dive?
Well, there's one more fascinating point Socrates brings up in this chapter, something that connects justice to what he calls the art of living.
The art of living. Sounds kind of deep.
It is. It's like Socrates is saying living a just life isn't just about following the rules.
It's more than that.
It's about developing certain skills, certain qualities that help us flourish, as humans.
So it's not just about being good
Mm.
in a legalistic sense.
Right. It's about character, about virtue.
I like that.
Remember those analogies Socrates used? The doctor, the chef, the horse trainer?
Yeah, they all needed expertise to really do their jobs well.
Exactly. And Socrates seems to be saying that justice is like that too.
Like it's a kind of expertise in living a good life.
You got it. For ourselves and for others.
So it's not just about avoiding bad stuff.
It's about actively pursuing the good.
I see. It's a more positive way of looking at justice.
And it all ties back to that idea of harming someone actually makes them worse.
Right, because it damages their ability to live well.
A just person wouldn't want to do that, even to someone who's done wrong.
It's about helping everyone reach their full potential.
In a way, yes. So we've got this idea of justice as expertise, the importance of character, this interconnectedness between individuals and society.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This conversation with Polemarchus and Thrasymachus, it's really just the beginning.
There's so much more to explore.
Oh yeah, this sets the stage for the rest of the Republic, where Plato really dives deep into these ideas of justice and the good life.
Well, I can't wait to keep digging. But before we go, what's one big question our listeners can ponder?
How about this? If true justice involves this art of living, this deeper understanding of what it means to live well, how do we actually cultivate that in ourselves and in our society?
That's a great question. And it's something we all need to think about, regardless of our beliefs or backgrounds.
It's about figuring out how to live a good life together.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Plato's Republic. We'll be back next time to explore even more of this fascinating work. Until then, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep striving for that good life.